Thank you for tuning in to TalkWad.com, the world's fastest growing internet radio network.
God, I feel like I'm in Busch Gardens.
Please check out all the other great shows on www.talkwad.com.
Welcome, America, to Amendment1Radio.com, where your First Amendment rights are still safe to say what's on your mind. Welcome, everybody. We're back with Amendment1Radio.com. And we're doing a continuation of last week's show with various amount of videos and stuff that we're doing. And we had to break it off last week because it's actually a really long video. But it gives you a really good look into the true aspects of politics. And it's just that, I know I like to sit here and say, Obama this and Obama that. But in all reality, it's really the entire group. Because after you can sit there and see the videos where you can actually see what's going on, you can really pretty much make your own decision, and you can see for yourself that, there's a lot of problems in government. And for those of you that watched the State of the Union speech there, something, it was really disheartening to sit there and listen to it, because each and everything that he said was more or less about the corporate companies that were backing him up as far as, the gun rights, give these people a vote. We're going to sit there and take care of immigration. And, and then there's going to be a new tax reform. And, what it really all basically means to me is this. We're going to raise your taxes. We're going to keep the immigrants in so that way everybody still has to pay for the illegal immigrants. And as far as trying to disarm you, we're going to keep going until we can get your guns away from you. And then once that happens, then we'll be able to sit there and pretty much do what we want to do. And, and it's really sad because of the simple fact that, the American people need to really wake up and see what's actually happening out there. You want to sit there and say, well, the Democrats are going to do this to help us out. The Republicans are going to do that to try and distract them. No, people, you have to understand. And I'll give you your best example. Romney and Obama. They sit there on that campaign trail and they badmouth, they slandered each other so bad it was unbelievable. The day after the election, where were these two guys? They were off at the White House having dinner together, and they was probably sitting there laughing, having a good time, saying, something, we really duped these suckers into believing that we actually had issues here. You did a really good job there, Romney. You sit there and actually made me feel bad at certain times. And the same thing with Romney with Obama. And, but when it's all said and done, let's really think about the issues here. Okay. The gun situation, even in the State of the Union address speech, there was nothing said about the mentally ill that had pulled the triggers. How are we going to help them? There was nothing said as far as the major issue of how do we pay China back $16 trillion? How do we sit there and put Americans back to work and really give them jobs that are going to be worthwhile to where we can sit there and say that our goods and services are stamped with a stamp that says made in USA? Because I'll give anybody out there the best challenge of all. I want you to sit there tonight when you get ready to go into the shower. Every bit of clothing that you take off and you go to lay on the floor or hang it up or whatever you do with it, I want you to look at every piece of article of clothing. And something? Call 727-493-2055 if you're doing it within the next hour. Or something? Send an email, send a text message, anything that you want to do there. And tell me, how many parts of your clothing are made in the USA? Because something? I looked, and not even my damn t-shirt that I got on right now is made in America. The damn thing's made in China. My tennis shoes, they're made in China. Levi jeans are not made in the US. So, people, this is where it kills you. This is what's happening. This is all the outsourcing, all these other jobs. But, and it's here, and here's the thing. This is the true meaning of America. Our government does this. we keep the education system down, because we're ranked like 48th in the world of the worst education system in the world, with the exception of our top colleges because they're privately owned. Okay. That's why it is so hard to get into like Harvard, Princeton, and all the others like that. You know, everything else is a big $50,000 party that everybody has to pay. And guess what? People ain't paying it back. So it's creating a tremendous debt. So now you have to sit there and think, okay, well, what's it all about? Keep America dummied down. Because if you keep them dumb and keep them stupid, then they have no reason to sit there and think of, oh, wow, our government's really sticking it to us. We need to make a stance. We need to say something. But if you don't know about it, you're not going to do it. It's like, hey, get me that free cell phone. Get me them there free benefits. Hey, go get me a house that I can go live in for $30 a month. And, you know, and this is the mentality that we have. We are being beat down by our own situation. And the worst part about it is, folks, we, the people, are creating it. We have the knowledge to look into each and every political person to see what their backgrounds are. So, you know something? I challenge everybody, because here's the thing. In 2014, you're going to have your state and local elections. It doesn't make a damn bit of difference. Democrats, Republicans, get them out. Vote them all out. Vote a damn independent. Get up off your asses, go in there and run for an office and make something happen good. You know, we need to take back the United States and make something happen, because these are the problems that we have. We're too lackadaisy. We don't care. It doesn't affect us. Well, you know something? It's plain and simple. I mean, even, you know, some of our greatest leaders, Thomas Jefferson, you know, these guys sit there and said that there has to be a cleansing of government at least every 25 years. We haven't had a cleansing of government in over 50 years. I mean, you've got guys that are 100 years old that were on the damn government that they sit there and said, oh, well, we want him to be the oldest guy in living history to be in the government panels. Are you kidding me? I want somebody who's going to represent me as an American to sit there and feel the heartache and pain that I feel trying to go out there and make stuff happen in this world so you can survive. I don't want to sit there and see him up there making, you know, $20-30 million because they get legal insider trading. I want the same benefits as they do. And when you people out there, the American people, start seeing that, hey, you know something? Why is it that these people are able to go in there and do this? It's very simple. It is a protected group of people. It's Democrats, it's Republicans, it's liberals, it's all of those. Your lobbyists, your attorneys that go in there and tie themselves into all this. It all is one big group. And this is what you don't pay attention to, because it's not one man. And it's like I said, you know, in the beginning, I'd sit there and say, yeah, Obama was a bum. But you know something? He is a very articulate, very smart man. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing. And people, I'm going to tell you right now, this man knows exactly what his agenda is. And let me tell you something. The agenda of the government that he's tied into is not a good agenda for the American people. Because right now, our government is bigger than us and they control us. And the more you people sit back and don't do a damn thing about it, the more you're going to have problems. You know, because my best advice to you right now, get off your ass, go join the NRA, go make a voice, go have an opinion on what's going on out there. If people don't like what you see or what you hear about government, make the difference. Because here's the thing, I have people tell me all the time, well, you know, they didn't get the right choice because of the House over here didn't respond back to what the president over there was saying, and it's the lobbyists that are tying this up. No, it's not that, people. Look at the bigger picture. It is the complete government system. I mean, that's like me sitting there saying an airplane flew into the Pentagon and blew up. You know something? I still have not, to this day, seen any aircraft wreckage around the Pentagon. Did you? Did anybody see airplane parts? No, I didn't. Building 7. You're going to sit there and tell me that floating, burning pieces of paper brought down a building? People, come on. It's right there in front of your face. Everybody wants to say, oh, it's the conspiracy theory. Oh, we're having so many problems here, you know, and it's just, You people are so far out there. Well, you know something? I'll sit there and take 100,000 sheets of paper. I'll light them on fire and I'll throw them off the damn Empire State Building. And I want to see one building around there collapse because of it. Because if it does, I'll be the first one to say, execute me out in Times Square and hang me by the highest damn rig you can build. And, you know, hell, you can disembowel me if you want to. But you know something? You won't see a damn building drop. So, and this is the thing. Keep thinking these stupid thoughts. All right? Open your mind. You've got to open your mind. You know, people, they're going after your gun rights. Why do you think this whole thing with the State of the Union address? Oh, this person's, you know, they get the right for that vote. They get the right for this vote over here. Make a vote for Newtown. Make a vote for Colorado. No. It's a sad situation what they had. But you know something? Hey, Obama, I know that the FCC's listening. I know that the government are sitting there watching everything on the FCC and everything through internet and everything. It all goes to a major band that sits there, and that, you know, there's many people out there to sit there and view this and listen to it. If you really think that you're not being viewed or watched, I mean, my God, you're idiots, because of the simple fact that, hey, guess what? Welcome to the Patriot Act. We are being watched. Your cell phones, everything you say on a cell phone is listened to. You know, so hey, Rush Limbaugh, I challenge you too. Glenn Beck, I challenge you too. And, you know, and it's just like, you know, here's guys that are in the Arbitron ratings that are like 18th and 19th in Arbitron ratings. And this is the kind of horse crap that you get because they want to sit there. They want to keep the machine going. It has to keep going. You have to keep America divided, because Glenn Beck is like the Democrats. You know, these people are the ones that are trying to sit there and hurt you. Rush Limbaugh, well, the Republicans are trying to go in here and they want to build a better Republican service. That way we can sit back and take back of America and make all our efforts conservative. No, they're not making a damn thing conservative. What they want to do is keep you divided, because guess what? In the colonial days, when the people had a problem with Britain, guess what? Was it the Democrats versus the Republicans versus Great Britain? No. It was the whole damn group as one that overthrew that government and made the United States what it is today. Okay? The Constitution was set there for us, by our ancestors. And, you know, and this is what makes me sick. You know, each and every one of our forefathers are probably spinning in their graves and, you know, just sitting there saying, my God, what has this country come into? And it's just like, you know, it turned into the biggest pussification of America that has ever been brought down the pike here. So, you know, where do we go from here? What do we do? You know, you got to wake up. There's no more of this, well, we'll get it next election. No, we have to make the stance now. In 2014, people, it's going to be right around the corner here really damn fast. You got to quit dealing with Democrats and Republicans. Let's start a new party. Let's call it this. Let's start the American Party. Let's get it going. The Tea Party is a joke. It is a fix with the Republican Party, and people, you need to wake up and get your heads out of your asses and really see what's going on. And, you know, this is a problem. So, and until you guys start seeing the bigger picture, that it's not about Obama being a Democrat. It's not even about if Romney would have been in office, because do you really think Romney would have did any better? Romney's agenda would have been this. He would have looked great for the first 12 months. You know why? Because he couldn't have done no worse. Then after the second 12 months, you would have been seeing a lot of out-of-country business dealings. Kind of sound familiar? It's what he already does. So, you know, and this is a problem, people. You know, he wouldn't have done any better. In fact, he would have sit there and probably brought it down faster in a term of 4 years. But instead, we've got everybody who wants to sit there and say, oh, this man's a nice guy. Well, hey, you know something? He is a nice guy. Think about all you people out there right now that got that big bonus in your check. Oh, what? What? You mean you didn't get no bonus in your check? That's right. You got taxed. You're losing money out of your check. Damn. Let's see. Let me think. I'm going to tax the rich their fair share. I think it should have been, I'm going to tax the middle class to where they can lose more. That way they have to become more dependent on government. That way, when I sit there and say, jump, then they jump. And then what do we have for it? Nothing. People, I'm just a big mouth construction worker here that has my own views on life and everything else. And you know something? It doesn't take a brain surgeon. It doesn't take a Rush Limbaugh or a Glenn Beck or a Hannity or, even that one dumbass, God, I can't even think, Pierce Morgan, to sit there and say, well, this and that, and, you don't need guns. And, it's ridiculous. We should be in a country that still says, in God we trust. Because you know something? Whether it was God, whether it was your mother, your father, somebody gave you a brain to think with. Now, use the damn thing and think with it. It's just that simple. We can no longer let the government sit there and do what it does for us because it makes it worse. And for those who actually might pay attention and sit there and think that, hey, maybe I might be somewhat useful in life. Well, hey, guess what? Here's what you do. Mark my words, because within the next 6 months, we're going to get taxed again. And then see what happens. And in case if all of you people out there haven't noticed, hey, let's check this. What happened to our $2.99 a gallon gas? We're up to $3.65 now. And guess what? By June, we're going to be back over $4. And they're even estimating right now that we should be set up to where it's going to be possibly $5 this year. But see, we're going to be so outraged at $5 that when they bring it down to $4, we're going to be grateful. Really? We're going to be grateful because of the fact that Wall Street can manipulate the price of crude oil per barrel so that way they can sit there and make a fortune. Okay? Is it about us? No, it's not. It's not about us one bit. It's about the fact that how bad can Wall Street manipulate and control our stuff? I mean, people, you got to look, because here's the thing. Wall Street, commodities, mutual funds, everything. I mean, my God, they've got a line on agriculture. They've got a line on construction. They've got a line on every aspect of your life. So what do you do? Where do you go? So, people, wake up. We have to wake up. Time's running out, and it's going to be a really bad mess here really fast. So, but yeah, we should be getting ready here to do the rest of this video. And let's see here. Get my buddy in here to get this thing here. Yeah, because I know I don't do it. Cool deal, man. Yep, definitely. So here we go, folks. Check this thing out and, keep a close eye on what's going on. And listen, hey, maybe we all will learn something.
Gates, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, CFR. Deputy Secretary of State, James Steinberg, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, CFR. State Department Special Envoy, Richard Haas, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, and President of the CFR. Obama Presidential Advisor Alan Greenspan, Bilderberg Group, Trilateral Commission, CFR. State Department Special Envoy Richard C. Holbrooke, Bilderberg, Trilateral, CFR. And the list goes on and on. Even if Barack Obama were the most wonderful person.
Okay, people, here we go. What you just seen on there was with the Bilderberg Group, the Trilateral Commission, and the Committee of Foreign Affairs. You know something? These people are the people that, guess what? They were in Bush's administration. So for everybody that wants to sit there and say, well, it's all Bush's fault that he carried all this mess over. Well, guess what, folks? It's the same damn people. Okay? It's the same people that are being brought out of Bush's committees that were brought into Obama's. Now, do you really think Obama went in there and said, okay, I want all you same bums in here to come over here and do something? No. Was Obama sit there and probably said, hey, Mr. Obama, it was probably a good idea that you go ahead and you continue on with these people here. That way you'll look good, and our committees over here on the other side will actually make everything right for you and this group of people. Because you know something, Americans, this is something that you better realize real fast. We, the people, did not make the deficit. We, the people, did not make all the corruption and mess that we have in government in D.C. today. Now, if any one of us, hey, military personnel, I know damn good and well, you guys didn't go over there and start the war. People, we didn't make all these debts to China and everything else. So, you know something, people, open your mind, see what is going on. It's right in front of your face. It's in black and white, and it's telling you who these people are that are being carried over. Because guess what? These people, not only were they with Bush, a good majority of them was with Clinton. So, all right, man, go ahead, roll on.
In the world, he was groomed and brought to power by the global elite to carry out their agenda. Humanity must look past Obama and realize that presidents come and go, but the shadow government and their program of global enslavement continues.
How could people be so stupid and gullible to believe a bunch of political people?
So people who voted for Obama were trying to express, I think, first of all, something worthwhile. The hatred for Bush, Cheney, the neocons, the desire to punish the Republicans for their adventures, their police state, and their economic depression. The second question was on the economy. People felt that Bush was selling them down the river into a world depression. He is, of course, the new Herbert Hoover in that regard, so they were trying to get something different from that. The tragedy, of course, is, and this is really why Obama was groomed and prepared over a period of almost 30 years now, that Obama is there to frustrate and to deceive all of those hopes. Obama is a cruel hoax. He's a bogus sham. He's an absolute denial of everything that you'd expect from an American president.
It is very disturbing to see well-meaning people falling for high-tech propaganda over and over again. It happened after 9/11. The American people en masse were swept into a mob psychology, irrationally throwing their common sense to the wind and doing whatever the administration told them to. The general public eventually caught on to the fact that George W. Bush was a deceitful thug and that the economy was in free fall. In the midst of it all, Barack Obama was there, speaking out against the abuse of the people at the hands of the establishment. With the election of Barack Obama, the world rejoiced that the United States was no longer in the hands of madmen. But unfortunately for humanity, this was another vicious fraud.
I want to like the guy. He speaks gently, he's intelligent, he seems to be a man of peace. He is just as charismatic as they come. But you know what? Is that a tree is really, really measured by the quality of its fruit. And when you kind of put away all the flowery words, when you put away all the rhetoric, when you put away all the rock and roll music, what he does is what's important for the people of this country, starting with the truth.
Obama is notoriously a liar. He promised that he would get out of Iraq, I think within 16 months at some point. We had Samantha Power telling the Scotsman that he wouldn't be bound by those promises, and sure enough, he's now not going to be bound by those promises.
Obama pledged in hundreds of speeches and interviews that within 6 months of being elected, he was going to bring our troops home from Iraq. But after he was inaugurated, the story changed. Now he said that they would look at bringing some of the troops home in 16 months. 2 weeks later, his story had changed again. Now the administration would look at bringing the troops home in 23 months.
Well, Obama's already fudging. He's fudged since day one in this election, where he first said we're getting out. Well, now it's a timetable, and now it's da-da-da, because they're getting to him. They're understanding that, and he ain't going to be able to get him out because people more powerful than him got us in.
When he first ran, remember, he was going to take the troops out. I get in there, troops come home. Day one.
There is no military solution in Iraq, and there never was. I will begin to remove our troops from Iraq immediately.
And then that went to 16 months. And now he's going to add, they're saying, another 30,000 or more troops to Afghanistan.
Next, he sent 30,000 more Marines to Afghanistan, doubling the total number of forces in the crosshairs. Barack then announced that he was going to move missile systems into Eastern Europe to encircle Russia. But after all, what should we expect after he kept Bush's Secretary of Defense Robert Gates?
The outcome of this policy is if you're constantly meddling near the Russian borders with these fascist creeps, IMF, NATO agents like Yushchenko of Ukraine, or Saakashvili or Georgia, or these Kaczynski twins in Poland, or various collections of people in Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, you're tied to these gangsters, and if they decide to start a war, that rapidly escalates into thermonuclear World War III. This is worse than the neocons. Bush and Cheney never got as far as Brzezinski, Soros, and the other people running Obama.
Barack Obama swore that he would vote to repeal the Patriot Act, but then he voted for its reauthorization. Obama decried the Bush administration's illegal warrantless wiretapping of the American people. Then he voted to legalize it.
Obama pledged that he would filibuster any attempt to give retroactive immunity to the telephone companies, the telecom companies, except he then turned around and voted for that bill.
Most people don't know, for example, that he voted to reinstate the Patriot Act and more government wiretapping.
Candidate Obama told desperate factory workers in speech after speech that he was going to renegotiate NAFTA and GATT to make it more fair for American workers.
It is absolutely true that NAFTA was a mistake.
But then his campaign was caught sending out memos to top corporate leaders, telling them not to worry and that it was just campaign rhetoric.
We had Obama saying, you know, I'm against free trade. I don't like NAFTA and all those free trade sellouts. We had Austin Goolsbee going to the Canadian diplomats and saying, don't mind him. He's just popping off. That's just election era rhetoric. Doesn't mean anything.
Presidential candidate Barack Obama was publicly criticizing the North American Free Trade Agreement in a bid for votes, but privately telling Canadian officials not to worry about it.
He said that he was going to bring us peace in the Middle East. He said that he was going to bring us transparency and a balanced economy. He said that he was going to not have lobbyists. He said he was going to clean up government. He said he was going to work for the environment. And point by point by point, within the first month of his inauguration, he has lied and deceived and cheated the American people.
The people of the United States and the world were filled with hope that Obama was the real deal when in his first week in office he signed an executive order supposedly closing Guantanamo Bay and other secret prisons. Then the press actually had a chance to read the executive order and were shocked to find that the executive order only said that Obama was thinking about closing Guantanamo in a year. But worst of all, the executive order continued the practice of rendition, which the LA Times called secret abductions.
They don't know. They think that he's signed off immediately on closing Guantanamo, but he's allowing prisoners now to be taken to foreign countries and not knowing where they're sending them and to be tortured in foreign countries. They don't know that they kept that provision in there.
Obama is now continuing the practice of secret arrest, secret prisons, and most importantly, indefinite detention without trial. When a British High Court said that it was preparing to release secret British and U.S. torture orders that prove that the Bush administration was ordering personnel to systematically abuse detainees, Barack Obama threatened to cut off all U.S. intelligence ties to England. To add insult to injury, he stated that the program was important to national security, not only endorsing Bush's crimes, but continuing them.
Obama voted for a reinstatement of the Patriot Act. And by his early deeds already, again, as we saw with the issues of retention, he's willing to send people that have been charged with nothing to be tortured to so-called get the truth out of them.
If the makers of this film attempted to cover all of Obama's lies, this documentary would never be released because there are new ones every day. So in the interest of time, we're going to cover one more big one. Barack and his handlers made the cornerstone of his campaign, keeping lobbyists and donors out of his administration. Within hours of being elected, Obama did a 180 and filled the White House and federal government with lobbyists and donors at all levels. Obama picked William Lynn, the top lobbyist for Raytheon, to fill the #2 position at the Department of Defense. Timothy Geithner, former president of the private Federal Reserve Bank of New York, was picked by Obama to be Secretary of the Treasury. Geithner promptly crammed the Treasury Department full of lobbyists, like his chief of staff, Mark Patterson, formerly the top lobbyist at Goldman Sachs. Obama appointed top lobbyist to the Saudi royal family, George Mitchell, as the lead Middle Eastern envoy. Obama appointed the king of Wall Street lobbyists, Leon Panetta, to head up the CIA. Obama tapped Tom Daschle, top lobbyist for healthcare firms, to run the Department of Health and Human Services, and the list goes on and on. Then, 3 weeks into his administration, Obama launched a new lie, more outrageous than the previous. With Academy Award-level conviction, he said that he was upset about the banker bailout, which his own chief of staff, Rahm Emanuel, another former Wall Street executive, had engineered. Obama said that he had signed an executive order capping the CEO's salaries of those who had taken the bailout money. There was just 2 problems. All the major banks and brokerage firms were exempt, and the new order only dealt with any future bailouts, and those were to be on the honor system.
What gets people upset, and rightfully so, are executives being rewarded for failure.
AIG, Bank of America, and Citigroup, which have received billions in bailout money, don't fall under this plan. Only banks negotiating future agreements with the government will be restricted. But this appears to be built on an honor system, and White House Press Secretary Robert Gibbs had a hard time explaining how enforcement would work.
Well, let me get, I will get clarification from Treasury on that.
Generally speaking, this is already the biggest liar and the biggest disappointment that we've seen in recent history. And again, qualitatively beyond the rather low standards set by Bush the Elder and Clinton in terms of delivering on promises.
Bottom line, Obama is a fantastic actor and an even better liar. His track record is clear. He has done the opposite of everything he told the people he would do.
They'll make up one lie after another. And if you believe these people, knock yourself out. I don't believe a word they say.
Within 1 month of the passage of the first banker bailout bill, the press reported that over $5 trillion had just disappeared out of the U.S. Treasury. By December, the amount of money that had been stolen had reached $8.5 trillion. The leadership of both political parties circled the wagons and would not discuss where the money had gone.
In the Fed! In the Fed! In the Fed! In the Fed!
Informed Americans protested the private Federal Reserve System at all 38 of their regional governorship offices.
Arrest Bernanke and Paulson! Arrest all the criminals that stole the banker bailout money!
It was refreshing to see people standing up against the real power structure, not being distracted by the elite's frontmen like George W. Bush and Barack Obama. We traveled to Dallas, Texas to cover We the People taking on the real enemy.
Hey, I want to talk to the workers up there on the parapet. The ones smoking cigarettes that just jumped back. You're with the American people, we know that. But understand, ask the workers inside. You're not in a federal government building. You're in a private Federal Reserve that uses that name as a fraud. That'd be like if my first name was Federal Reserve Jones. I'm still not the federal government. I'm not a federal agency. But if I said my name was Federal Reserve, I could go out and pay off politicians and get them to allow me to get into power so I could issue the currency and credit, and then I could buy up the world. That's what these criminals have done.
A lot of people think that the Federal Reserve is already part of the government. They're not. It's controlled by cliques of unelected, unaccountable bankers meeting in secret. Most of these people have never even been through the formality of a Senate hearing or a Senate confirmation. They claim that they're part of the U.S. government. They masquerade as if they were part of the U.S. government. But in reality, this is a purely private operation. Jackals, hyenas, raptors, all of them loyal, not to the American people, but to the Wall Street banks, which is where most of them come from.
Everyone is pointing to Barack right now, President Obama, as saying, you got to get the economy together. You got to get the economy together. When in fact, the president has very little to do with the economy. It's the Federal Reserve chairman that at least sets the policy. That's a privately owned company, the Federal Reserve Bank. They set the agenda.
These guys are masquerading as a federal institution. They are a private banking consortium, and this is their front, their holding company. The Federal Reserve is not federal. It's a front for a private banking cartel. That's on record in congressional testimony, and they're the ones orchestrating the economic collapse we're seeing right now, so that's why we're here.
While at the End the Fed rally outside the Federal Reserve Bank in Dallas, Texas, we spoke with Ron Paul's brother, Wayne Paul.
1913, the Federal Reserve Act was passed, floor of the House, where 3 members of Congress were on the floor. At that time, they only needed a majority of votes to pass it. So in 1913, the Federal Reserve Act was passed. 20 years later, 1933, under Roosevelt, the United States was declared bankrupt. And in 1933, the Federal Reserve private bank says, okay, USA, what are you going to pledge as collateral on the debt you owe me? What happened by 1936? Does anybody know? We instituted Social Security system, and you and I and our children and our children's children were pledged as collateral on the debt of our government to the Federal Reserve. And that's where we're at today. It took 20 years to make this country bankrupt, and since then, our government has operated under emergency powers of our government. It is not the president that makes the decision in this country. It's the Secretary of Treasury who turns around and is put in there by the Federal Reserve to manage the bankruptcy. We've been in bankruptcy ever since. So to print $700 billion and to give it away, how do they get away with it? The manager of the bankruptcy is told by the Federal Reserve this is the way to go. That's where we're at today.
Yes, we should point out, Congressman Ron Paul now has a huge amount of sponsors for a bill in the House of Representatives to abolish the private Federal Reserve crime syndicate.
In 1913, the money power of the country was taken away from the people. By constitutional privilege, it belongs with the Congress, but it was given up in the Federal Reserve Act. The Federal Reserve is no more federal than Federal Express, but yet it has the power to determine the direction of use of money in our economy. If we could take that power back and put the Federal Reserve under Treasury, we start to be in a position of being able to control monetary policy on behalf of the United States people.
The Federal Reserve is totally private, and Alan Greenspan 2 weeks ago on PBS on Lair NewsHour said on record that they are above the law, the Congress, the President, everyone. No court can do anything. We run America.
What is the proper relationship, what should be the proper relationship between a chairman of the Fed and a president of the United States?
Well, first of all, the Federal Reserve is an independent agency, and that means basically that there is no other agency of government which can overrule actions that we take. So long as that is in place and there is no evidence that the administration or the Congress or anybody else is requesting that we do things other than what we think is the appropriate thing, then what the relationships are don't frankly matter.
Notice what Greenspan is saying. Greenspan is saying the Federal Reserve is beyond the law. And in reality, they are in practice beyond the law. Nobody, as far as I know, has ever audited the Federal Reserve. One of the first things we ought to do when we nationalize the Fed is go in there and find out the audit. Who stole money? Who engaged in corruption? There's a whole series of people going back to Volcker, to Greenspan, to Bernanke, and so forth.
Think of the arrogance of private group of banks that have bankrupted the nation by design so they can repo the country. A private group of banks that loaned us our own money back are telling us they're above the law. You are not above the law, criminals.
No one is above the law.
No one is above the law, and the private Federal Reserve sure as hell isn't either.
Since the founding of the Federal Reserve back under Woodrow Wilson, the Federal Reserve has struck out 3 times. They didn't stop the crash of 1929. They didn't stop the banking panic of 1932, 1933. And now they are the cause of the derivatives crisis because they're the ones who inflicted derivatives on the world with Alan Greenspan.
Instead of our economy being about goods and services and real products and manufacturing, it's all about these guys, the private Federal Reserve that masquerades as a government entity who controls the issuance of currency and credit. They're the ones that have cut off the liquidity in the market. They told us have a debt-based economy. Then they cut it off once they get us under their thumb and implode the economy so they can consolidate it. And that's what they're doing right now. I mean, it's in their own documents, it's in their own statements. They claim, give us unlimited power, give us trillions of dollars with the Baker bailout bill that's already $5 trillion, not $850 billion as they say. And we'll get the economy going, but they're hoarding the money and buying up other banks that aren't part of the Federal Reserve, buying up insurance companies, buying up roads, infrastructures, media empires, defense contractors. What the banks do is they implode an economy by cutting off credit, and then once things really fall to a low, and they know the low because then they buy everything up and start then putting more money back into the economy, and then they build it back up. So they build us up and then shear us, build us up and shear us. And they're getting ready. All over the world, they're always shearing some country, imploding it. Comes out in their own IMF and World Bank documents. That's just the foreign arm of the same cartel.
And these are the people who claim to be the saviors of the economy, the people who have created every important crisis in the past 100 years, the Federal Reserve. So it's illegal, it's unconstitutional, and it's a failure. And I think the failure is what everybody can see right now.
Yeah, what they do is they make you think Clinton's evil in running things. Then, oh, Bush will save us. And then, oh, Bush was evil. Now we'll be saved by Barack Obama, but he's just a puppet. But as we get deeper into this phase, when they implode the economy, they have all the money and all the control. But they also like to pose as the savior. So Obama is meant to be the savior during the Depression, and he'll save us with a 1 million person, he said, is bigger than our military, domestic spy force, a 3 million person environmental spy force. So giving people these jobs to be government bureaucrats and spies to go out and manage the other 290-something million Americans. And so this is classical fascism. The communists also do it. Any vertically integrated command and control authoritarian system does this. So they're openly following what the same group of banks did in Germany, Russia. It's in the Communist Manifesto to have a private central bank because the private central bankers actually wrote the ideas that they had Marx and Engels put out. People go, well, why would the banks want communism? It doesn't exist. They rape us, they consolidate us, they put us into work brigades, they make us slaves, and they say it's a people's paradise. Look at it, boy, you're really doing good. And then they transfer all the wealth of the nation offshore. The globalists are outside all the nations. That gives them safety, and they play countries off against each other. And so that's what we're facing and dealing with. And so they're bringing in classical, hardcore tyranny in the U.S., but we have the internet. We've grown our numbers. The alternative media has exploded. That's why they're trying to move in to shut down and regulate and tax the web, but it's too late for them. They're playing in the 19th century, 20th century rules. It's 21st century, the century of resistance to tyranny. And so it's going to be one hell of a fight with the people and free humanity on one side and the New World Order on the other. And every one of you out there counts, needs to be involved in this fight like nothing you've been involved with before, because this is life and death. Everything depends on exposing these people. Everything depends on showing the people that this is the New World Order, this is the criminals, We're dealing with the king rats here, the people that are carrying out tyranny worldwide. And either they fall or we fall. Either worldwide darkness and a new age of tyranny and oppression and with a scientific overlay, or a new age of liberty and freedom and a new renaissance. The choice is the people's out there. Okay, we can tell you what's going on. You can check it out for yourself and find out it's true. But don't wait. Investigate now. Get involved now. Go out there and reach out now. We don't have time. If you're looking for the solution, look in the mirror. Look right into the mirror, because you out there, men, women, old, young, black, white, doesn't matter. It's going to be up to you if they win or if liberty succeeds and the people have a chance of having any future. These are cold-blooded eugenicists. These are cold-blooded people who think they're God, think that they're our masters, that think that we're animals. These are the guys that funded Lenin and Stalin and Hitler and Mao. These are the guys, it's all on record, that bankroll this stuff. They are hardcore vicious, and they must be resisted.
You're watching the Obama deception. We're going to go right back to the film in just a minute. But I wanted to take some time out in the middle of the film to encourage all of you that are watching it online right now to go to Infowars.com and purchase a high-quality DVD of the film. Or you can go to PrisonPlanet.tv and download a high-quality DivX version to burn to disc or DVD to give to your friends, your family, your neighbor, and your community. I also want to challenge all the viewers out there to take time out, to write notes as you watch this film, and to check all the claims that we've made for yourself, because I'm confident in the information presented here. And I want you to not trust me, but to know for yourself, to know in fact that Obama is a betrayer and a liar, a Judas goat, a Trojan horse to bring in the one world government. So again, I want to thank you for watching the Obama deception. You can go to Infowars.com and get a high-quality DVD, or watch it in super high quality and burn disc to give your friends, your family, your neighbors, and warn the public at PrisonPlanet.tv. Now let's cut right back to the Obama deception.
Up until about the Kennedy assassination and the beginning of the war in Vietnam, the United States is a very powerful engine for world progress. It's the assassinations, the Kennedy assassination, and the others in the 1960s, the beginning of the Vietnam War, and the beginning of the absolute domination of the Wall Street Group over every other interest. Nobody else counts except the Wall Street money masters. That has now made the United States into no longer a force for progress, but something very different, often a force for destruction in the world. That doesn't need to remain that way. The interest of the American people is to fight to take your government back from Wall Street and make the United States a force for progress in the world, which we easily could do if we could just break the power of the people behind Obama.
The main banks of Europe, which were started by Adam.
Okay, people, we're back here. Yeah, actually, what we'll have to do is continue on our next show, because actually I still got a lot more stuff tied into it. But even like he sits there and says in the video, take notes, check it out for yourself, see what the truth is, and really look into it. Because here's the thing, even in the video there, you can sit there and understand the fact is, you know, there's more people behind the man that actually makes the man. And this is the thing that people have to understand. It is up to exactly what he said. It's up to that person that you look into the mirror to sit there and take matters into your own hand, to do your search of the information to make sure that, hey, either they're going to be a bunch of liars or they're going to be telling you the truth. And once you find the information and find out the facts, I mean, because even I myself, this is what I do. I go in there, I find stories like this. I sit there, I take notes. I find out what the bullet points are. I find out what's real, what's BS, and everything. And people, let me tell you something. The Bilderberg Group is real. The Trilateral Group is real. The Commission of the Foreign Affairs, it's real. You know, these people, you can look up in any search engine you want to, as far as the members of Obama's cabinet, and you'll see just how far back these people were tied into. So, and this is the thing, Americans, you need to sit there and start getting stuff taken care of. 2014 is right around the corner, and the elections are going to be ready. So other than that, it's up to us to make the difference this time. No more BS. Get rid of Democrats. Get rid of Republicans. Let's run ourselves. We can do a damn well better job than that. So I can't make $5 and $10 trillion in debt. Can you? So other than that, let's start the American party. The heck with everything else. Be American. Be proud of who you are. Be proud of what you are. and let's get back to where we can be proud of one country here that's ran by the United States people and not the United States government. So other than that, take care. Have a good Valentine's Day and keep going. Do your information search.
No matter how far, to fight for the right without question or pause.